Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. It's available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, or any podcast player of your choice. So subscribe for free once you're done listening to this episode, and remember to give me a 5-star review. Also share with your friends, your family members, your associates, and your enemies. So today on the show, we're going to be continuing with conversations with Remilekun, who is a podcast listener who reached out to me on LinkedIn. If this is your first time listening to the show, after you're done listening to this one, listen to the 3 episodes prior. You're going to get caught up on who Remilekun is, my relationship with her, and the questions, or rather the broad stretch of the conversations that we have been having. Keeping those conversations shared and public over here on the podcast so that you guys can get the benefit of all the ideas that we toss around back and forth. But before we head into conversations with Remilekun, I want to give some comments on how to handle ghosting, how to let prospects go, and how to do lead nurturing for future business. Ghosting is something that I've spoken about in the past on the podcast. Ghosting, it's a slang for in the Commonwealth countries at least. So I'm not sure what they call it in France or Scandinavia and those parts of the world. But in Nigeria, Canada, Cameroon, UK, where else? Scotland, you guys get the picture. Ghosting is when you reach out to someone and the person just ignores you. So ghosting happens in personal relationships. So maybe you're a guy, you like a girl, you send her messages, she doesn't reply, or the other way around. That's ghosting. But of course, we are only concerned about ghosting in a business context where you're trying to get business out of someone, you're trying to follow up on something, or maybe you send that co-worker a message in the office because you're trying to find out how far with the office minutes and XYZ memorandum that we're supposed to have signed, and the person ignores you. You're not getting a response. That is ghosting. Now, sometimes when we are faced with all these ghosting situations, handling it is going to be a mixture of different things. Trying to deal with the ghosting in itself. Sometimes it involves letting prospects go. That's for those of us who are trying to chase business. Anybody that you're talking to, trying to get business out of that person, trying to build initiatives, relationships with that person, business relationships. Of course, we refer to those people as prospects. So sometimes it involves looking for strategies to handle the ghosting in itself, letting the prospect go. Because really, if somebody's not responding and you've tried a million times, what else is there to do? Are you going to try for the millionth and first time? Sometimes it involves letting people go. And sometimes it involves looking for creative ways to put the people back in the lead nurturing funnel. Now, this is what lead nurturing is. Leads are people who might, you have a sense that they might need your product or your service. So you try to have a conversation with them. Now might not be the right time for you guys to go ahead. Maybe they're not ready. But we need to look for ways to keep in touch. Because if you get in touch with someone now, you don't have any ideas for lead nurturing or relationship building, but because you're not going forward with the business today, you don't bother to get in touch with them until next year. Next year is a whole 365 days. Other people have had an avenue to take a crack at their business, and maybe they steal that business from you, or even if they haven't, they might forget who you are because the last time you guys had a conversation was 365 days ago, and then you're now starting from the beginning again. Now, hello, this is me. My name is Remy. This is what I do. This is what I sell, blah, blah, blah. This is how we can help you. And it's a pain in the butt to do all that drama this year, start all that drama again next year. So we need to look for ways to put people back into the funnel. Funnel, that's another technical sales or marketing term. And funnel just relates to the means or the media that you've been using to keep in touch with people. So having someone in the lead nurturing funnel just means that you're going to hook them up to your CRM, that's your customer relationship management tool, and you're going to remember to get in touch with them every 2 weeks, every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, every whatever you think is most appropriate, so that you are top of mind, they don't forget you, you keep the conversation going, so that by the time they are ready to pull the trigger and go ahead with the business 365 days from now, All you have to do is to say, hey, this is Remy, and I'm called concerning this, that. And the person says, oh, yes, Remy, thank you very much for reminding me. And then you guys move ahead. Instead of you call up and then you say, hey, this is Remy, and they say, Remy who? You say, it's Remilekun. Say, which Remilekun? I know 5 Remilekuns. Oh, no, I'm the Remilekun who works in VI, who does this, who does that. It's a pain in the butt to have to start all over again. So those are the sorts of things that we're going to talk about today. And then we'll also get back to Remilekun. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, you guys remember that I haven't done wedding photography in quite a while. Although I started off as a wedding photographer 15 years ago in Lagos and then moved to Abuja after that. But I still entertain wedding photography inquiries. I do not look for wedding photography jobs. But of course, if I'm here chilling and the wedding photography job comes to me and I can make a few $100,000 out of it, of course, I'm going to take that phone call. So the way that I do it now, it has been outsourced to my team. So I used to work with Raquel, but Raquel has now moved on, and she's into what do you call this thing? Cars. So they buy cars, refurbish cars, they sell cars. So you're looking to buy a car, you need a hookup, just let me know so I can hook you up with Raquel. But that's provided you are based in Abuja, because that's where she does her business in Abuja. Both of us are Benue people, so I guess if you live in Nasarawa or Makudi or any of those kind of places and you want to buy a car, then sure, let me know. I'll hook you up with Raquel, and then she'll take care of you. So the other members of my team that we still work with regularly are Amy Lord. He's also, don't ask me what Amy Lord means. It's just his name, or his business name rather. So there's Amy Lord, also a Benue person, a TIV person, does really good work, especially portrait work. And then there is my the longest running relationship that I have with my secret weapon, and her name is Ray. Ray does absolutely wonderful wedding photography work, and then she works really fast. She works like crazy. Oh, by the way, Ray is supposed to be having a baby soon. So those of you who are long-time listeners of the podcast and who remember the times I've spoken about Ray, please, your prayers for safe delivery and also for a wonderful family. So where was I? Okay, yeah, so my team now consists of mostly Amy Lord and Ray. We handle all the wedding photography. So that's how I'm able to field wedding photography calls. I pass it along to my team, and we deliver a wonderful result at the end of the day. So that's the reason why I can still do my business consulting, record the podcast. That's because I have my secret weapons, Amy Lord and Ray, especially Ray, because she's something else. She works really fast, like 100 images overnight, that fast. So, we were having a conversation with someone for wedding photography, and it was supposed to be this month. Okay, we're in September now, so it was supposed to be this month. And the person went ghost. And at the stage where they went ghost, I was trying to set up a studio meeting so that they can, a studio and sample meeting. Some people call it a client pre-consult. Some wedding planners call it a client pre-consult, sorry, forgive me. For lawyers, it is called a, what's it called? I can't remember what lawyers call it. Or if lawyers still call it anything, because I've been out of the legal profession for, well over 15 years. So I'm not sure how it works. So, but people have this idea in different industries that before you do business, the person comes over to your office, or you go over to the person's house or the office. You guys get into the meat of what they're trying to solve. You guys look at samples, things like that before you negotiate and tidy things up. So that's what I was trying to set up. Come over to the studio, have a look at samples, get to meet Amy Lord, other members of the team. Let's see if it's a good fit working together. Let's see if you're comfortable with everything that you see. Now, so that was what I was trying to do. But then the person went ghost. She was not the one getting married, but she was negotiating on behalf of her brother. I ordinarily don't like doing that, but of course, I ran my qualification and it looked like this was a legit one, so I went ahead with the conversation. So my solution, since the wedding date was a month away, from my own experience in wedding photography, if you're trying to wrap things up, it's already a month in, you guys haven't secured an agreement, I don't think the chances are this is going to close. I mean, that is different from when, like, they like you, they really like you, we've agreed on everything, we've agreed on the price, but they're saying, you know what, we have a month to go, but can you give me maybe like 2 weeks, for me to pay my first deposit? Things are rough. I'm waiting for salary, blah, blah, blah. So outside of those solutions, if you guys haven't tidy things up, wedding photography a month to the date, then you guys are just wasting your time. So I decided to bite the bullet and then let them go. That was the strategy. Just let them go, then put them back in lead nurturing sequence, and then see how we can explore the possibility of future business. So that's how I wrapped it up basically. I had a conversation with Amy Lord, brought them up to speed, and then I told them that, I'm going to bite the bullet. We'll just drop these people, and then I'll put them back in lead nurturing. So I'll be in touch with them. They'll be my CRM. I'll be in touch with them. We'll see how we can explore future business opportunities because they're nice folk and we got along. Now, when I sent that message to the person I had been chatting with, that's the person who had gone ghost, when I sent that message, basically just saying, hey, you know what, wedding date is a month away. At this point, let's be real between you and me. I know we're not going ahead with this. So how about I get in touch with you in the future? Because I like you guys. You guys are cool. I think we can do some business together. We have some things going on the business consulting end. Sorry. We have some things going on the business consulting end and on the financing end. So how about I get in touch later on in the future? Let's discuss some business. I sent that message and I left it. Now, this is someone who had gone ghost for close to maybe like a week and a half. Now, what happens is that the person responded immediately. As in, like, I hit send. I was about to close WhatsApp. And then the person responded. And let's see. Okay, let me not read out the response to... Let me not read out the response to what her response to my message was. But basically, from the chat back and forth after my message, it became clear that she wasn't trying to be rude by ghosting. It's just that this deal was not going to go through. And since we had been cool all this while, she didn't want to be impolite. So she didn't know what to say. So she was very thankful about how I handled the situation. And that's how we preserved the relationship. And I now have contact details and permission to be in touch later on to not discuss photography related issues now, but general business issues in the future. So, what's the benefit of handling things this way? Remember, I spoke about either biting the bullet to let them go. Let's see, what else did I explore? Letting them go and then trying to see how you can get them back in the funnel for lead nurturing in the future. So the advantage of handling things this way is that you preserve the possibility for future business. Then, plus, on a one-on-one level, she now knows that I'm a professional and she can keep it 100 with me because I didn't get offended or anything. I called it like I thought it was, and so she knows that we're both mature adults here. So in the future, she can always keep it 100% with me. She can say, "Oh, this is what's going on. This is what's not going on. It's moving forward. It's not moving forward." So we now have that kind of a relationship, and most of all, she was very, very thankful because now the pressure is off. All those silly games of this guy called, let me ignore. He sent a message, let me ignore. It takes a lot of pressure off. So, the moral of the story is this. Let's stop getting sad because we have been ghosted. I've said it time and time on the podcast that when you get ghosted, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing because things are never going to work out. Sometimes there's a backstory that you're never going to know the particulars of. But the thing is, let's stop taking it personal when people ghost you. It's nothing personal. You've been ghosted. Dust yourself off and keep going. Hit your prospecting list. Continue looking for more business. Open your calendar. Open your diary. There are pending conversations that you haven't followed up with in a very long time. So follow up with those things. Stop getting sad because you've been ghosted, and stop being like those other people who start ranting all over LinkedIn and Twitter and blah 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 that my client said this, the person ghosted me, clients are deceitful, people are not honest, people are disrespectful, people are rude. Whether people are disrespectful, rude, whatever, it's none of our business. We're here to make money and to provide value to our clients, and we're going to do exactly what we need to do to get the ball moving. So if people ghost us, there's ways around it, but stop getting sad, stop getting angry, stop ranting all over social media. We're going to explore more tactics related to this whole phenomenon of ghosting in the future. I've also done so in the past. So if you're new to this podcast episode, if you're new to this podcast, then subscribe. You're going to get more practical and actionable tips in the future. You can also search ghosting within this podcasting app, or ghost, the word ghost, for when I use it as a verb. And you see the episodes where we've done things related to that. Oh, by the way, if this is your first time of listening to the podcast, and in case you haven't figured it out, this is why this podcast is most valuable, or rather more valuable than the other Nigerian business podcasts you've been listening to. Because I talk about practical things to do next, instead of all that whole motivational fluff that people give all the time. You know, when they say aspire to retire and refire and aim higher so that you can acquire, and all those stuff, all those things sound cute and they sound really nice. But it doesn't help you because we finish, we're all jazzed up, but we don't know what the next step to take is. So that's all about the ghosting thing. Of course, the reason why I shared it was something practical happened recently. Just wanted to give you guys an idea, just so that you know that all the previous conversations we've been having around ghosting and people going blank, that when we talk about stuff here, it's not theory, it's practical. You try out some of the ideas, these are some of the results. So yeah, it can work. Now, to the Remilekun conversation. So, dear Remilekun, since the conversation that we've been having so far has been around using LinkedIn for sales, I'm going to be addressing primarily LinkedIn as we go forward. But please, Remilekun, and other people who are listening, take these principles, apply them to social media, any social media, apply it to email, apply it to Telegram, apply it to WhatsApp, apply it to any place where you can send a message to an inbox. So, if you're on MySpace, if MySpace is still running, or what else? What are the old ones? There's MySpace, there's, I can't remember. If you're on all those ones that most of us think are dead, the principles apply here as well. So, I'm not going to go into the background. For those of you who are listening now, if you're curious about what this conversation is with Remilekun, listen to the older episodes. So, Remilekun, if you don't want to make friends aimlessly on social media, and you want to get straight to the point, you want to get straight to selling, then this is the framework to use. The framework to use is called ABC. Let me repeat. The framework to use is ABC. For those of you who are into studying sales and marketing and stuff like that, you've heard of ABC before. It means always be closing. So let me repeat. ABC, always be closing. That is what you should be doing so that you're not making friends aimlessly on social media. Unfortunately, people have a poor understanding of ABC. They think ABC means you should always be asking for a sale, because for some people, every time they hear close, they think it means collect the money. So most people, when they say ABC, always be closing, they're always trying to collect money. So they're saying buy now, 50% off, subscribe now, book before January 5th, all those kind of calls to action. But what ABC means is you should always be asking for the commitment. A close can mean sale, but close generally means a commitment. So ABC, always be closing, means you should always be asking for the commitment. The commitment that you're going to ask for during the conversation is not always buy now or book before January 5th for 20% off. That is not always the commitment you should be asking for. There are relevant commitments that you should be asking for that depends upon the stage of the relationship that you are at the moment. In the beginning, the commitment you're going to ask for is different. At the end, the commitment you're going to ask for is different. In between, you have different kinds of commitments. Remember, back to the wedding photography thing that I gave in the example. At that stage of the relationship, the commitment was come over to the studio, see some albums, meet Amy Lord, meet Ray, let's have a chat, see some samples, get comfortable, see if this is the kind of thing you even like before we move forward. That was the commitment to ask for, relevant commitment to ask for at that stage. At that stage, commitment was not buy now, this is my bank account, deposit 400k to book your wedding date. So, the commitment depends depending on the stage you are at the relationship. If things moved along at the meeting, then perhaps the commitment to ask for at that stage would have now been, since you have seen all the albums that you like, you've decided on sample 1, 2, and 3, the frames that you want to get are this size, this size, this size, and this is the amount. The total amount is X thousand naira. So for us to move forward for your wedding date, September 20th, what you have to pay now is 250k as deposit, and then the balance of 200k or balance of 250k you pay on so and so. So at that time, at that stage, that's the relevant commitment. So please, when you hear ABC, it doesn't mean always be asking for the money. It means always be asking for the commitment. The commitment is different depending on the stage that you're at in the relationship. Now, apart from ABC, there's also another framework you should be using that will help you move things along when you are on LinkedIn instead of making friends all the time or trying to build relationships all the time. We need to have a thorough understanding of the difference between continuations and advancements. Something I've spoken about on the podcast before. So when you're done, you can search using the podcast function, or you can just go to Listen Notes. Listen Notes allows you to look at a podcast and search within particular podcasts for certain topics. So on Listen Notes, you'll be able to find it. You just subscribe, go to Listen Notes, open it. You don't need to create an account. You search for my podcast there. You use the search bar. It will search within my podcast. You see continuation, you will see advancements, and you get more ideas on it. Now, this is the difference between continuations and advancements. Continuation just means you guys are friendly, but there is no room for value or there's no room for business growth between both of you. This is those friendships that you're stuck with in perpetuity, where you have follow-up calls, or you guys meet in church, or you meet at the office, or you meet at the bar or wherever, and you guys talk about work, you talk about family, you talk about the latest Man U and Arsenal match. You talk about the Labour Congress strike. You talk about politics. You talk about Donald Trump and religion. You talk about the latest musical fads. You talk about the latest social media trends. But as you guys are doing all this chat, there is no room for you to talk business at all. As in, like, it doesn't make sense. You can't throw business in here. In this case, you're in a continuation. And when you're stuck in a continuation, this is very bad because you're wasting your time. Apart from that, the other person is trying to be polite, but the thing is, you're becoming a pest to this other person. Every time the person sees you, you guys are talking Manchester United and Arsenal. The person knows that you're trying to make some money and there's something that you're chasing, but you guys have seen 10 times in the last 1 year, every single time you've spoken about Arsene Wenger. Okay, well, I don't know if Arsene Wenger is still was he the coach or the owner? I don't know football, so please don't judge me on that. So every time you guys see you're talking Man U, or you're talking politics, you're becoming a pest to this person. The person is going to start avoiding you. The person is going to start ghosting you because you guys are stuck in a continuation and the person already has enough friends. He doesn't need an extra friend. So if you're stuck in a continuation, this is pretty bad. So anyway, that's a continuation. Advancements, on the other hand, when you have those relationships where there's room for growth in the relationship and there's room for you to provide value because you have identified key issues and you have identified the relevant course of action to take. Let me repeat. You have identified key issues and you have identified the relevant courses of action to take. So it's okay to talk about Manchester United and Arsenal and Arsene Wenger and Ukraine and Donald Trump and all those things. But if you have identified key issues in the relationship, you'll be able to say, well, you know what, whether Putin killed this guy or he didn't kill this guy, anyway, we'll see. At the end of the day, we'll find out. But by the way, this last thing that we spoke about, you remember that we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you remember, the next thing we're supposed to do is 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So how far? Have you done your own part? Because me, I'm ready. You can have that kind of conversation because you have identified key issues in the last meeting or the last time you guys hooked up. And so there's an action plot, an action plan, an action point, whatever it is you call it, that you guys have to do for now. So if you don't have advancements, there is no way you can refocus the conversation or refocus the relationship, and you end up wasting your time. Now, because I'm a sales professional and I'm a capable professional and I know how to charge these conversations, it's not a problem for me to go from Donald Trump to the memorandum of understanding that we signed last week. It's not a problem because at the last meeting, I actually secured a memorandum of understanding and maybe I signed my own bit. The problem is this guy hasn't signed his own, or maybe he has signed his own But sequel to that memorandum of understanding, I'm supposed to do something, he is supposed to do something as well. I can keep things on track. Because at the last meeting, I was able to identify key issues and the course of action. So I'm calling to follow up on that now. And at this meeting, I'm also going to identify key issues and relevant courses of action to take at the next meeting, so that every time I call, it's an advancement. With advancements, you're moving forward every time, step by step. You call, you take one step. You call, you take one step. Continuations, there's no room. You guys are not moving forward at all. How are the children? Oh, school is resuming. Have you paid school fees? God will help us. Fuel scarcity, we are suffering. Oh, Manchester United, they defeated Arsenal, NLC strike, blah, blah, blah. You get the picture. So that's the difference between continuations and advancements. So with these three tools, ABC, always be closing or always be asking for the commitment, and then advancements and continuations, you've identified key issues and then the next course of actions to take. With these, you're going to be able to cut your time in half, and you're not going to have to be making friends all the time on LinkedIn. So with these three tools, remember them because we're going to use them to answer more questions from Remilekun in the future. With these three tools, ABC, always be asking for the commitment. Advancements, continuations, we're going to answer three specific questions that I agreed with Remilekun today in the next episode. Number one, our question, to make sales on LinkedIn, does it require networking and relationships? Number two, in making sales on LinkedIn and social media, is it okay to just say the value of your product and service and then move on? And then number three, is creating and sustaining relationships on social media, is it tiring? So those are the three questions. To make sales on LinkedIn, do you have to network and build relationships? Instead of building relationships, can't you just say, this is what my product or service does, this is the value, buy now, and then move on? And creating relationships, doesn't it get tiring? So I've made a note of that on my phone, just in case she hasn't changed the the delivery settings on her WhatsApp yet. Because who knows, I might pick up my phone tomorrow and then get ready to answer the questions and then see that the messages have disappeared. Anyway, that's all for today, folks. So if you love what you've been hearing on the podcast, then hit me up on 080-6466-2140. You can call, you can SMS, you can WhatsApp, you can Telegram, you can whatever. And please get in touch for if you have business problems, like if you need customer experience improvement. That's where we assist companies, folks like yourself, to try and improve customer satisfaction and to improve customer loyalty. The goal of this kind of action is to make sure that the people do business with you today, that they're going to come back and buy from you again tomorrow, next week, next year. Also, that they bring their friends, their family members, and their associates. So, if you have problems with customer satisfaction, customer experience, you want to improve all of that, then hit me up. Remember, you can connect with me on LinkedIn or any social media of your choice. My name is Tavishima Ayede. You can confirm the spelling of my name and my email address on the website where you are currently listening to this episode. Or just check the profile of the podcast app where you're listening to my voice, and all that information is there. Also, if you'd like to see how I'm getting a client 1.4 billion naira returns on a savings account, then hit me up. The number again is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. The kinds of savings accounts in question are not your regular savings accounts, but rather they're specialized and dedicated savings accounts for your business, your education, or your personal or parents' retirement goals. If you're interested, call or text me. We'll continue tomorrow with the conversation with Remilekun. I'm only going to be addressing her issues tomorrow, so tomorrow's podcast episode should be shorter. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.